proof record being pressed.
At least you've pressed the button.
I imagine we got 10 minutes through, no video.
I know, we couldn't even rely on camera audio today.
just a couple of bros chilling.
You know, I love about these shows with no video is like there's a 2% chance we might all be naked and no one will be doing about it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
to be fair,
2%.
it's suspending disbelief, isn't it?
Jack brings a sort of...
And it's a bit shit having Jack on the show and not having the camera. That's the only reason we've got him.
Very kind, guys.
We'll start for there. We'll use that as the intro. We'll use that as the intro. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 100 and something of 102 of Talk.
Same amount of percent that we're naked right now.
Of Talk Scottish Football. And yes, as we've already danced over and we've touched on, there is no video.
Which is a shame because we're in the brand new studio and it's fucking glorious.
This is Jack. You've been in the studio a couple of times down the stair. This is the first time you've been in. What do you think of this beautiful surrounding we're in?
Oh, mate, it took us about half an hour to find the lights.
That was a
but then we need to find them
them.
apparently. But it is lovely.
It is
Once you
nice.
see it, you will realise it is very nice. It's a bit different.
How comfy is the casting couch?
It's nice.
Oh, is that
liking
what this is?
So me and Jack are actually sharing.
I don't know. I mean, all these cameras and a big couch
Are
in the room.
are we post-derby couch sharing?
Get that title. That's a
So you
podcast.
like the post-match pint. This is the post-match cuddle. You know?
Nice.
A different brand of content.
It's like the crossing the old firm divide, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, shaking the hands on the casting couch. You've got to love it.
Please note that Ryan has called it the old firm.
Well, listen, because I'm on Talk Scottish Football, I get made to call it that anyway. But we're back, we're here, and yes, it is audio only. It's very frustrating that it is audio only. We didn't want to have it audio only, but I have forgotten an SD card, so you're going to have to be like, well, listen, you're laughing, Jack, but I was up working till 11 o'clock there, and it was all a bit of a rush to get out here at a reasonable time, so I thought, fuck it, you know.
Place is on its arse, isn't it? So I left.
Yep, place was on its arse.
I've left Tesco for everyone listening.
Yep, place is just
It's an emotional farewell on
That's it.
Sunday pasta. Sunday before.
So how's retired life?
It's good. I've got about 60 years till I draw my pension, but it's alright.
You know, you're just early preparation.
Yeah,
you know?
early retirement's the way it's at, you know.
But you're gone. I'm still there, not for much longer. But it's time to talk some serious things. We've got a lot to cover on this episode, and not just your departure from Tesco.
To be fair, I mean, Jack's. We try to get him on again, and he's finally back on. It's after Rangers have chucked the league
Literally the
title.
only time I'm free is after Celtic pretty much clinched the league.
So yeah, that's what happened. Got into it. It kind of seemed like every Celtic fan I spoke to said they would bite your hand off for a point, because a point was almost as good as 3. But I mean, now that they've got the 3, you realise that is pretty much game over. I don't even know what to ask you, Jack. It was just it's a bit shite. I mean, going into it, no Morelos was a big fucking disaster.
To be honest, I was just a bit obviously gutted when Morelos got confirmed he wasn't going to be playing. I was quite excited to see Roof, considering I think Roof was playing pretty well up until that point when he was getting an appearance. But it's one of those ones, like, you look at that performance and you're crying out for a Morelos in there.
Yeah, the game started exactly as the game at Parkhead started. Rangers were out the blocks, fucking 100 miles per hour. Early goal from Aaron Ramsey, who started the game really, really well. And at that point, Ryan's arse must have been making buttons, because it looked like it could have been 3-0 Rangers the way it started.
Would you believe me if I sat here and said it wasn't actually making buttons?
I don't believe most of the stuff you say in these shows. So.
Look, listen, I know it might be hard to believe whatever I say. It's just reasonable for that to happen. Of course, there was a part. I mean, it's like, right, Christ, that's not the start you're wanting. Of course, you do I go down 1-0 that early? But if you go back and you listen to all my match preview content leading up to that game, the podcasts, the live streams, the phone ins, everything.
Poor bastard has got to listen to all that.
Fuck off. But if you do, honestly, if you go back and listen to all that, I kept repeating this one same point, and that was, if we go down 1-0 to Rangers, I don't think that's game over. I'm not worried, because I believe in this team right now, and we got exactly everything that I said would happen. If we went down 1-0, I thought that our team would rise above that and show why they're the most confident side in the city at the moment. And it's exactly what happened. Look, it's a difference, of course. You go down 1-0 with 10 minutes to go, then I would have been shitting my fucking pants, right? But it was very early on, and we got the perfect response.
Perfect response. That seems to be the difference. I mean, Rangers didn't respond until they were 3-0 down in the second half at Parkhead, whereas Celtic
even
got...
at that, though, we responded to a Celtic team that weren't even trying it.
Yeah, I mean, the game was done, wasn't it? I mean, but so I did it, the instant response. And Tom Rogic got the goal, and I mean, everyone knows how much I love Tom Rogic. He's like my favourite player in the country. I think he's amazing, and he was phenomenal. Rangers could not get near him for the entire first half. Every time they broke away, because in years gone by, Rangers have won midfield Old Firm games in the midfield, like especially under Gerrard. That seemed to be where they always kind of won them. They won that battle, but on Sunday, Jack, they couldn't get near Rogic especially.
Rogic was unbelievable. Him and Carter Vickers, like a man of the match for me. You look at that first goal especially, like obviously there's a few things you can point out, like McGregor should have parried it. Argument that Bassey should maybe take McGregor before he gets in there. There's nobody anywhere near Hatate when he hits that shot. But Rogic is in an absolute acre of space himself, and he's literally waiting for it to come to him. And he's, to be fair, he can't take away for the finish. He's
It's
done
a great finish.
It's one of the ones you've seen a lot of people, and I think that yourself, you've put it really well, but you see a few folk now always give it, it's a scrap, we shouldn't be giving away those sort of goals, but it's one of those ones, right place, right time.
Callum McGregor does brilliantly too.
And McGregor does brilliant for it. It is a hard one to take. If Celtic were on the receiving end of that, it'd be like, you'd be kind of biting your lip. But Rogic does phenomenal to bring it down. That's a really well worked goal. It was deserving of the end of the play that I thought.
So that was 7 minutes in, wasn't it? Well, I'm sitting there thinking, wow,
I had just got back to my fucking seat.
At that point, I'm thinking this could be the best Old Firm game in years. It didn't. I mean, it didn't turn into a goal fest, but Celtic calmed down big time, and that was key for them. I think.
At 1 each, I'm thinking this is going to be about a 4 each.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
It was all.
See, especially because Celtic started the game so poorly.
Was Juranovic in the piss Saturday night?
I don't know.
He was dreadful.
But even after, see the thing is, right, even after Celtic equalised, the 5 minutes following that, we were still shit. We still really struggled.
The game really died after that goal, and not even just on the pitch. That the stadium was in a bit of a shock. I think. I remember turning to the guy next to me and being like, "What's happening?"
But see, that's why and I don't want to keep rehashing the same argument. That's why I want to see bigger allocations, because you suddenly need to battle. You can't battle 700. It's an easy battle to win. You know what I mean? So battling a bit more than that makes it exciting. But you're right. I think the stadium seemed a bit flat at the time, but Celtic were still really struggling to string a pass together. Rangers were, I don't know what I seen of Rangers was a team that couldn't live up to the opening
Fuck all
6
ideas,
minutes,
I mean, they started really, really fast, and they gave a lot in the first sort of opening exchanges. But the longer the game went on, I thought they looked tired. I thought it looked like they didn't have any ideas. Roof, for me, wasn't doing anything really. He wasn't offering enough. He didn't hold the ball. He wasn't running channels. He was stationary a lot of the time. And they just couldn't get going. Ramsey started really, really well, and I thought this is going to be his fucking explosion onto the scene. And I actually thought he had a decent game.
Explosion onto the scene.
In terms of up here, everyone's been waiting for him to have that game.
I've seen Ramsey getting slaughtered on Twitter, and I think Ramsey had a good game.
I thought he had a good game too, personally.
I think he got hooked too early.
I thought the subs
he literally played amazing for 90 minutes for Wales, and he's getting hooked when Aribo was playing absolutely shocking. Aribo shouldn't have been on that park any longer than he was, and Ryan Jack and Adam Ramsey are getting hooked instead of Aribo.
Yeah, well, we'll come to that. It was in the second half, but Celtic got the second goal.
Oh yes, yes we did.
A man that I think is probably my shout for Player of the Year at the moment in time, because he's kind of crept. The Carter Vickers thing is strange, because Starfelt came in originally, obviously, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's up on scary shite," and he's come good and he's done all right. But Carter Vickers has kind of been so solid the whole way through, and what a performance! I haven't seen Celtic that defensively that aggressive in the way they defended the box in a game like that for a long time. Yeah. And he gets a goal as well.
Yeah, so I done a video today. Apparently we're edging closer to signing him. I hope that there's truth to that. I hope the Daily Record and they're just making up for us.
Take him over Jota.
Yeah, I'd agree. Which is mad to say, but you've hit the nail on the head. I think that he is arguably our player of the season. He's just been consistently great. His performance defensively against Rangers was once again great, but also offensively gets you a goal, and that's 4 goals he scored this season. He's put himself in positions where
that's again right place, right time.
Exactly, and you need that, and he's and a word that again and Sunday really exaggerated this for me, and it really strengthened the case. He is the best centre half to play for Celtic since Virgil van Dijk. I really do believe that. As much as I loved Christopher Ayer, and I know we've had players who, since Van Dijk, we've had Denier, we've had Beata, we've had Christopher Ayer, Benkovic, all players who Celtic fans have rated highly at times. But Carter Vickers is the only one out of all those names that I have never heard a bad word about.
He's different to them,
and I've never seen make a mistake. I've not seen him make one mistake. Ayer, for as good as he is and as good a price tag he left for, he had a mistake in him.
He did all
he
the
had
time.
a good
Long-term
listeners. Look past him.
Long-term listeners to the show will know that I've told you for ages he had mistakes in him.
But Carter Vickers, doesn't.
Carter Vickers is he's a centre half, but he's a defender first and foremost.
Yeah.
You don't get that very often with centre halves in the modern game. He seems to love defending his box. He heads everything. He loves the physical side of it.
But he can do the other side as well, which is great.
Exactly.
Because he needs it for the range, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, I don't want to criticise Starfelt too much because it's a good game, but there were a few times in the first half, especially where he was making wrong decisions on the ball, overplaying it. I don't recall Carter Vickers doing that once. And also, Starfelt he had a habit of giving away fouls. Don't ever really remember Carter Vickers doing that, so he was fantastic. And then going in at the break, I thought Rangers were going to come out flying in the second half, and I'm thinking there still could be 3 each. You know,
I went into there. I'll go meet my mates at the kiosk bit, and one of my pals went, "Do you know what this reminds me of?" That game we went down 2-1 with the El Kaduri one, and we came back 1-4-2, and I was like, "Don't you tease me." And then I came back out, watched the first 5 minutes. I was like, "Well, that's fucked."
Did you see him again at full time?
Oh mate, I went home in my bed.
Dick.
I didn't see anybody.
That's like why I know that feeling. You leave a derby defeat, you don't even want to speak to anybody.
It's tragic.
Honestly,
it ruined. I'm still gutted. It ruins your week.
All the Old Firm defeats last year, there was gaffs happening in our flat, so I don't know what you're on about.
Gaffs happening.
You're up till 3 in the morning, chewing ear off everyone.
Listen, number one, there was no gaffs
because it was lockdown. That wasn't allowed, so obviously we didn't have any gaffs.
I know. Yeah, that's just absolute nonsense.
No. What are they gonna do? Come and fine us? Like, fuck off.
Number 10 down
to catch me first. I'm like a whippet.
There was I think there was one, because there was a time where we could. I think it was the last couple of derbies of the season, Scottish Cup final, Scottish Cup one, and then the other one that's around that time we were allowed to have full cup. So at those two, you're right. There was
some turn up the books if that Sue Gray report comes out and it's just me and you front and centre.
Nice save, boys. Nice save. I like that recovery.
Forget
Boris away with a lot of it.
Forget Boris Johnson. We've got to talk about Fitzsimons and Buick. No, but it's sickening. But that's the thing. We've touched in the second half. Rangers didn't really offer much of a response. I thought there was a period in the second half right up towards the end where they had the majority of possession. They never really done it. Joe Hart had one save to make the entire half. It was a good save. What is the problem just now at Rangers? I'm seeing that a lot of Rangers fans are coming out and giving it the whole, there's players that just don't want to be there and it's time to get rid of them and such. Would you agree with that? Do you think that's the issue?
I think there's a combination of a few things. I think it's harsh to blame. I'm seeing Gio's head getting called for it. I think that's a bit harsh. I think you need to give him a bit of time. You need to give him a transfer window that's going to be able to get his own team and implement his own style. I do think his decision making has been a bit poor at times, like I said earlier, like with the substitutions and stuff like that. Obviously in a previous game he subs Morelos and it ends up paying off and Roof scored, but subbing Morelos in a game like needing a goal was ridiculous. Stuff like that's a bit of a pain in the arse. Obviously you can look at some players like Aribo. For me, was player of the season up until that international break, and then he's just fell away fit. It doesn't look like he can be bothered. Ryan Kent, I think in the first 15 minutes I was very, very happy with how Ryan Kent was playing. He was chasing every single ball, but I think he kind of died away in that second half as well. It's one of those ones you look at it and you can blame whoever you want, but at the end of the day we can just kind of break down a team now. We're literally, as soon as the team sit in, we have no option. We just chuck a ball in, hope for the best, and then we get one chance. Obviously it's a good save, but that's not good enough when they're 2-1 down.
It's just wild. I know it's one of the things that get talked about all the time, and it's a kind of overused point at this rate, but it's just wild how they can go from being so good in European football to then, everybody looks so up for that. When you watch Rangers in Europe, and I mean I hate saying it, but they look great. They look so up for the challenge. And then
a tweet that was it was one of those ones where you take it with a pinch of salt, but the Europa League is what get watched. So players might be thinking, I'm going to be getting seen here, and then you go to play Dundee away, and you're thinking, who's going to watch me play Dundee away? So,
but coming back to Morelos, though, I mean, Rangers go to Braga on Thursday. I don't expect it to be a vintage Rangers in Europe performance. I think he's that much of a, especially in European games when there's that space in behind, he runs the channels. Roof doesn't do that. It's not Roof's game. Sakala might be able to do it a bit better than Roof has in terms of the pace he's got, but Roof wants the ball to feet. He wants to have the ball to turn and face the goal, but that's the problem on Sunday. How many times did he get the ball and he's facing his own goal? He can't do anything there. Morelos is great in that position.
I think Roof was trying too much today, what Morelos does.
But he just can't do it. It's not his game.
Because Morelos is one of the only players in this country, I think, that can play like that, who can drop in and is almost like a cam, hold the ball up. Morelos does this move every single game. He holds the ball up, passes out wide, does a dart inside and gets a ball inside. And Roof just didn't have that.
He was very, he was standing still so much for me at the weekend. I was like...
But see, the thing about Roof is, which is quite frustrating. See if you give him good deliveries and you get him in good positions. He's lethal.
No, I think he's a good player. He's a really good player. I just don't think that game suited him at the weekend.
Not at all.
But the longer it went on, Rangers looked like they had zero ideas of what to do. They were just flying balls into the box, meat and drink for Carter Vickers and Starfelt. They won everything pretty much, and they looked really tired. I thought really tired. Whereas you look at someone who I wanted to mention that I thought was outstanding for Celtic in Maida, who didn't stop running the whole way through. I think when Tavernier went back to bed, Maida was already in his bed. I thought someone said
ridiculous how much that boy runs, man.
Mate, it was unbelievable, his work rate, but he's also clever with it as well. Like, he knows when to press, he doesn't waste his time. Giacomakis as well, I thought put a brilliant shift in.
Just tremendous.
Thankfully got booked because I had him in lunch to get booked.
Listen, do you know what? It makes me smile because I had a few people. This isn't you, Jack. I'm not even this at you. I had a few people who, Rangers fans, who laughed at my opinions of Giacomakis at point. I remember distinctly somebody calling him a meme of a player. And that just, I love that looking back on it now because he's just done a fantastic job and he was brilliant at the weekend. You've seen him run and Maida as well. They've really been two players who've proved their critics wrong, and that's not even just critics of other teams, fans and media, that's Celtic fans as well. There was a lot of Celtic fans who doubted these guys for quite a while. Maida was getting it rotten a few weeks ago, and Giacomakis, when he missed that penalty against Livingston, folk were ready for chucking him out. So the way that they've turned it around is fantastic, but every single player on that park for Celtic at the weekend put in an absolute shift. I can't really fault any. I mean, Juranovic maybe for the first goal, but he picked himself up afterwards. I just thought everybody was brilliant, played a really good part. Even like Greg Taylor, what a game.
I thought Hatate was poor.
I wouldn't say he was poor. I
thought the first half especially game bypassed him.
I think poor would be harsh.
I think
the only opinion of Hatate I can give is I didn't see him.
Yeah, see, that's what I feel like he just had a quiet game. I don't think it was necessarily a poor game. I mean,
50 minutes he looked burst. When he went off, he looked absolutely done. As he has kind of done it. But again, we're forgetting these Japanese boys are just off the back of a season, and they're still playing at a level with the intensity of that fixture. Beaton was brilliant when he came on as well. Where did that performance? He looked like fucking Sergio Busquets out there. That was unbelievable. It's mental what a bit of confidence that's for these players, though. If you look at last season. He
always looks like Busquets. Bethlehem Busquets.
But if you just said Beaton in an Old Firm game last year gives you the fear, whereas now he's playing in a confident team, he's got a bit of confidence, he looks like a player again. And it's mental the way it goes. Who else was I going to praise? Callum McGregor was outstanding as well, I thought. But yeah, I mean, you're right, pretty much everyone did have a good game for Celtic. And
effectively, the big story is, that's it, isn't it?
7 points clear, effectively.
Yeah.
6 and a point for goal.
What are you thinking just now, Jack? Do you think that's it, curtains?
Aye.
Do you think
so? What is it the guy in the crowd said? He's done.
Oh, do you know what? That's a sin, innit?
It's a sin.
I love it personally.
See, as much as if it was flipped, I'd be absolutely loving that. That boy's going to be at his funeral, and I'm going to have that on the screen like that. What a buzz that was! He's done, man.
It's like as soon as he came up the screen, I was pissing myself, but. I've never, just very quickly, have any of you ever actually cried at a game of football?
I
Almost.
cried when we beat you on penalties.
Aye?
But I probably inside knowing exactly what you're going to do.
I've came close to it after victories, big victories like winning the Invincible treble, winning in Rome and stuff. I've came very, very close to it. I think the only time that I've actually shed a tear was when they started singing Ness and Doma before the Billy McNeil video package. You know that?
I cried on Walter Smith's last game at Ibrox.
I think I can't remember if I was crying that cup final in 07 when you beat us. I remember my dad shouting at me.
Yeah, you've told me that. I think we've actually maybe had this conversation before.
That's what I can't remember. There's been a few this season where it's been fucking close. And I'm not ruling it out yet.
I've not cried at defeat yet.
Nah, never. I've never. If we lose, I'm more raging than upset.
What would you say is your sorest defeat?
Sorest defeat?
Great question, Jack. We should get you on more often.
That's a really, really good.
Get me on the camera.
Actually, been in the ground.
Yes,
I've been in the ground. I have never been at a derby which we've. No, I have. You have beat us at a derby because you beat us. That was quite sore actually. The one you beat us right before COVID, 2019 at Parkhead. You came and beat us.
Kent.
And Gerrard was getting it the whole.
The 2-1 when Katic scored.
That was quite sore, but I don't know if it was the sorest.
I mean, all I can think of is.
Do you know what was actually? Do you know what I think actually could be the answer? I think it might actually be Copenhagen. See, especially because we gave ourselves hope that night. Edouard scored the penalty. I was like,
he's still singing and
banging up. I actually think that's the answer. That was just a terrifying.
There's a couple.
Night.
We played Falkirk in the semi-final in 08, and that was maybe too young to remember how bad that was. And this season, fucking loads. Generally, the amount of times this season I've been a broken man. So tomorrow night could be the one, actually.
I've been asked this question before, and like people were always like, "Oh, it must be one of the 5-1s." I'm like, "Mate, the 5-1s don't even touch it." see the Fraser Forster Cup final. See missing a penalty, being the better team, and leaving, knowing that you're lifting a trophy as you're leaving that stadium.
The one where we played Dundee United when Cammy Bell saved 3 penalties, that was a bit of a kick in the knackers, that one.
Cammy Bell.
Don't mind that. Saved 3 penalties in one game for Dundee United.
Did he not retire quite young, Cammy Bell?
You should have after that Motherwell
game. This was after that, I think. He's so fair play to him.
But effectively the league looks to be. I'm touching wood.
I mean, you've still got Livy away and an Old Firm, so.
No, you never know. We might not have Livy away. They could lose.
Maybe.
They could lose out just.
I mean, listen, it's very unlikely now that Celtic will not.
It's the way that I word it is. I wouldn't say it's over, but what I would say is it's our title to lose.
And I think the Rangers have got a really, really tough game next Sunday. To be honest,
say it's over.
Yeah, probably is, isn't
so
it?
For me, there was a few differences of opinion. There was a must not lose and a must win, and it was a must win for me because we still need see if we were going to Parkhead needing a win. Celtic would set up that game a lot differently than if we're going to set up when we go 6 points behind you. So I feel like when we've got St Mirren, haven't we?
I'd be worried about that game. I honestly would, because he's going to have to go as strong as he can for Thursday night, isn't he?
My mate sent me a picture, and it probably sums us up to an absolute T. I'll find it.
He's got to go as strong as he can for Thursday because the whole season's on that now.
Listen,
pretty much.
It could be a party on Sunday. It really could be, because if Celtic go and win, if Celtic go and win, what's this coming up this week? Braga won. That's
exactly what's coming up.
That's really relatable.
Coming up this week, Braga won, Rangers 3, and then at the weekend, St Mirren won, Rangers now.
There was a period of time where
I'd take that.
There was a period of time years ago, Celtic were like, we beat Barcelona on the fucking Tuesday or the Wednesday night, and then we went and fucking lost to come on next weekend. You know what I'm like? Talk about. But on that note, as I was saying, we should be, and I expect us to be, beating St Johnstone on Saturday, which means if Rangers
got a week's rest.
Yeah. And if Rangers don't win on Sunday, even draw the game, it's got to be party mode for Celtic, because that's the point where I will say it is over. Because it could happen, A
couple more points I had in my head. There's loads to talk about Morelos, and obviously we've talked about it as well. Te amo, Morelos. We've talked about it as well.
Listen, before you go, we've got to touch on all this. What's this nonsense about opposition?
Hold on.
Opposition supporters asking for photos.
You see that?
Oh my Jesus Christ!
What is that? I mean,
come on.
I saw a few Rangers fans saying, "I wish we never came back after the Rangers."
Jesus Christ, that's my man.
But it's really fucking straight. And listen, there's probably people on the other side, on our side, that would probably do. I mean, it's bad enough we're sitting in the same fucking couch, Jack. But I mean,
you're literally wearing blue though, so.
It's even worse because you've got no clothes on.
Yeah,
you can use the Tesco uniform, Pat Roy wants blue.
But no, in all honesty,
just got a colleague badge on.
There were so many bizarre. I don't know about you, Jack, but the old firm stuff.
See that's
we're going to come to that because we've got questions on it.
Okay.
Right, so we'll come back to it.
We'll save it. Really,
what I was thinking, we've talked lots about Morelos now. He's a massive miss, and that's absolutely right. He totally is. Celtic are missing their best striker and have done for the last 3 months. Nobody's really thought about this. It's all about Morelos, but Celtic's best striker's not playing. So he's not come back. Kyogo, he's not playing. Has anyone else forgotten about him? Or?
Well, Giakoumakis has just done a fantastic job.
Well, he has, but Kyogo's still Celtic's best striker. Is he not?
When Kyogo comes back, he's walking.
Kyogo's still a top scorer.
Well, exactly.
Well, no,
there's no chance you're benching him.
I don't think so.
I think
no chance.
I don't think he comes right back in
when he's fully fit. He's starting.
I don't think he comes right back in and plays every single game. I think there is going to be a genuine competition for that.
Do you think he's in Ange's best 11?
The Kyogo?
Yeah.
100%.
Of course he is.
He probably is, yeah. But that's just the thing. Since he's been away, Giakoumakis.
No, I agree. That's Giakoumakis, but we're forgetting about how good Kyogo was.
I'm not denying this, Jim. I can't say his name.
Don't worry.
I'm not denying he's a good player, but Come on.
No, I know it's like Kyogo probably does get back into that team, and look
at the cup semi-final against Hibs. Cup final against Hibs, sorry.
Yeah,
where he comes back in from injury the day before and wins the cup final, just like that.
It's crazy. No, I know it's wild and just strength.
But that's true for where we're at in terms of the strength Celtic have got. We talked about, and it's again, I said it on Twitter. I said in the summer it'd be a miracle for them win the league. Don't retract that comment, because at the time it seemed very much true.
It is a miracle,
and it's about as close to one as you're going to get in terms of the distance that we're at.
Listen, it's all well and good that I can sit here and slag as many Rangers fans as I like. There's Rangers fans that came out and said, we could field 2 teams and finish first and second. There's Rangers fans who came out when we were 6th in the table and said we'd be lucky to finish third. I could pick out all of those different things and slag everybody for that if I wanted to. I'm not going to. But what I will say is when we were 6th in the table, deep down, and even on camera, I was saying, we can't win this league. And here, there is a miracle has sort of transpired here. We've not lost a single game since Livingston.
Celtic are now incredibly close to winning a treble.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? It's frightening.
Coming on here, so I laugh.
But this is the crazy thing about this. And how are we now in a position? Now, this is. I come at this from a Rangers point of view, because it's gross mismanagement from Rangers' point of view that this has been allowed to happen. How have Celtic now got like a better squad than Rangers? How is that possible?
The thing that baffles me the most is we have yet to find somebody to fill Morelos' spot when he's not playing. Obviously, people can argue for certain players, but we've just proved that Roof can't. And
Defoe was too old.
See, the thing about Defoe is, you give him the ball anywhere, he might finish it, but he can't last 90 minutes in that kind of intensity. So
Eaton didn't work. Well, it's not really worked, has it?
Unless he's playing Motherwell.
Yeah, I mean, who else has there been in terms of strikers? Sakala. Bit early to write him off.
I don't really rate Sakala.
Well, he's not Morelos, is he? That's the thing. But that's crazy.
But it's mental to me that we've no thought of that option. We've not really.
It just after
we were linked with somebody the pre-season that I think every Rangers, I can't remember his name now. Is it Olsen or something?
Oh,
and the full Rangers Twitter was
Scov Olsen
was screaming for him, and we didn't even ask.
But it's like we after everything Morelos has been through at Rangers, and the times his Rangers career was done, we are now sitting here towards the end of the 21-22 season, and he's still the main man for Rangers. And you take him out of the team, and they are fucked, to be perfectly honest.
And do you want to use this to transpire into the next conversation about Morelos?
He's now out for the rest of the season.
Out for the rest of the season, but also Rangers have.
It might have played his last game for us.
You talk about gross mismanagement. There has been a real shooting of the foot, you could say. He's only got a year left in his deal.
Yeah, so he doesn't go this summer, he's leaving for nothing.
He's either leaving for nothing or he's got to leave for a cut price in the summer. Now, don't get me wrong, cut prices aren't the worst, because we still got decent money for the likes of Odd.
What do you get for Edward? 15?
We got 16 for Edouard, and we got about 20 for Ayer. So, I'm making up numbers now because I can't even remember what they are, but they had add-ons and all the rest of it. But, sometimes
it still funded the rebuild, didn't it?
It still funded the rebuild. But, we did shoot ourselves in the foot because we could have got double that for Edouard, you know what I mean? If we had 3 or 4 years in
the thing Arsenal used to do. Arsenal used to always do that.
So now Rangers have kind of shot themselves in the foot, because it looks as though he could have played his last game. They're going to miss him to the end of the season, and if he hasn't played his last game, then are the chances of him signing a contract that high?
Doubt it now.
I'd be surprised if it did, and if he did, it would be like an extra year just to kind of.
What's the incentive for him to stay now? What else? He's done pretty much everything.
Especially if there's no Champions League.
The only way we keep him, like, I'd be confident if we kept him, is if we go through the qualifiers and get into the Champions League that way.
But he might be gone before that even fucking comes about. That's the crazy thing. Yeah, that's absolutely wild. The injuries are such a strange one, because he's obviously been carrying. I can't remember, but this injury.
The Colombia part of him is ridiculous.
That has been one of the most mental things ever. Why have Rangers not put the foot down with that and said, "Listen, you're not going"?
I think he wanted to go, and it's.
But why? Why did he want to go?
Mate,
he must have known he wasn't going to play.
See,
correct me. That's some chance in it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did they not say something to the manager on the camera, like when he celebrated a goal? Was he not like, "I fuck you" or something like? There was no.
I don't know what he said.
There was like a mad celebration, and
I know he went into the camera and said something. But I don't know what he said.
Let's not go down the route of translating Morelos again. That ends up.
No, but I remember like somebody saying to me apparently it was something to do with like the Colombia manager. So I don't know. Maybe I thought they would have put the foot down, because that is ridiculous, and that's why I put up a tweet today on the podcast. The Celtic podcast, but just for a laugh, just to get a few bites if possible.
You try to get a few bites.
Just me trying to get a few bites. You wouldn't believe it. But I put up a tweet on that, and I was like, so Morelos has went there, hasn't played, came back with an injury or whatever, or went with an injury, whatever, and now he's out for the season. It's Like, what has actually happened there? Like, that's just insane.
Yeah, it's just wild. I don't know. I mean, I know they've beaten Braga before. I don't think Braga are having the best season this
They
year.
just beat Benfica.
I know, but I think Benfica rested quite a lot for the game tonight.
I think it beat 3-1 tonight.
Yeah, it could have been fucking 8-1 tonight from what I saw. I don't know. I think everyone, Rangers are kind of on a hiding to nothing with this Braga game because they've beaten them before. I think everyone now expects them to beat them, which is a bit of a tough spot to be in.
It's a very different Braga team to what we played the first time. I think there's only 2 players that we played that are in that team.
They had that Trincao, didn't they? Once at Barcelona, was he not there?
That's right. He was.
I wouldn't be surprised if we go over and they win. I'm not going to be surprised if we get through the tie, but in the same breath, I'm not going to be surprised if they put us out.
It's really. I feel looking at the outside as a Celtic fan, I look at it the same way as I've looked at most European ties Celtic have had now. You've done so well against certain teams. So we've done so well against Lazio, Rennes, and these teams. We've got Copenhagen. Oh, great, we'll go through. And now that's that kind of it. We've beat Dortmund. We've beat Prague, etc. We can beat Braga, and that could be. That's the only thing as a Celtic fan that keeps me. That's the only thing that makes me go. Right, Rangers actually could go out here because on paper I should be confident. I have it right to be confident. Done really well.
But it's the first one where I think it's an expectation rather than a.
Morelos being out worries me.
Yeah, but same for. I don't know how they deal without him. But then again, Kent tends to step up in these European games.
Kane in Europe does it, doesn't he?
But he pretty bollocks at the weekend, wasn't he? Like, I don't know. He's had another
another
very strange season, Ryan Kent.
I was actually because I was talking to my roommate who was a Celtic fan, and he was telling me how you're going to come at the blocks, you're going to go rapid, and I just wasn't seeing it. In my opinion, I was like, we rarely do that, and especially in a game that's so pivotal. And see, but I felt like we were going to go a bit more cautious, and then watching him that first 5 minutes, I was like, whoa. Well, you came for what's this been all season? He was chasing every ball, and then obviously their goal that killed a wee bit. But I thought Ryan Kent played quite. Ryan Kent seems to play well in a game when he's got a bit more time in the ball and he can think a bit more. Whereas see when you play against like a Dundee and there's 4 of them surrounding you, he panics a wee bit.
Yeah, it's a strange one.
Morelos being out is huge. It's absolutely huge.
Yeah. Should we talk about that game? Well, what do you think? Do you think they'll go through?
I think Rangers will go through. Oh, but that's a very good question. Actually, it's good to pick up. Yeah. I think they will.
So is that through the semi-final?
Yeah.
That's
probably
crazy.
either Atalanta or Leipzig.
Which I don't think they'll win. I think that'll be the
No,
end
but
of the
you didn't
road.
think they beat Dortmund either. And they battered Dortmund.
They did batter Dortmund, but Leipzig have been absolutely sensational as of late.
Where are they in the league?
They're climbing into the top 4.
Where are Dortmund? Ahead of them?
No, listen. There's not even a point. There's no point. Did you see the score between the two at the weekend?
Well, I've been telling you Dortmund to push for ages. Leipzig, tell me.
Leipzig beat them 4-1 at the weekend.
Well, that's not a surprise.
No, but the thing is about Leipzig, Tedesco, since he's came in, is if he was in for the start of the season, they'd be challenging.
I think Atalanta might win that game anyway. But anyway,
yeah, they easily could. Atalanta. Well, Napoli beat them at the weekend. But as I was saying, if Tedesco was in charge of Leipzig this whole season, they'd be challenging for the league title right now. So I think that'll be the end of the road, whoever they play. But I think they'll beat Braga.
I think they'll get a positive result on Thursday night. I really do. I think they've got more chance of fucking it up in the home leg. Because I think if they say they do get beat off St Mirren or something, that is going to be a very, very interesting atmosphere next Thursday. Because I mean, it's already started. You've seen it a lot. I mean, they're turning on. No, they're not all doing it, but a lot of them are turning on. I mean, Robertson's getting it, Gio's getting it, Goldson's getting it again.
See, this is one of
I feel quite harsh on Gold. I think Goldson's alright.
Another thing I want to bring up.
The Goldson thing is so bizarre because he was after that cup game against Hibs.
McGregor's cost us more points.
Everyone slagged him off, but then he got back in the good books and now he's shit again.
McGregor's cost us more points than Goldson's.
Well, that's the one thing I wanted to actually bring up because we've got a Rangers fan on. I don't get to talk about this on the other podcast, obviously. But like, and football fans are so reactionary, obviously, and Celtic fans are so reactionary. You fucking seen us charging Parkade last year. Fucking, get out.
I did say that.
You did. And but this is the thing, right? I swear to God, 3 weeks ago, Tavernier's the best captain in Rangers fucking modern history, and then people are wanting Lundstrom to get the armband.
Twitter's something else, though.
I know, it's not real life, I suppose. And Dev always brings up that point, like Twitter's not real life. But
you put it perfectly. It's a reaction.
It's a reaction. Well, it is. It's an instant platform.
Lundstrom was class, like in terms of trying to get the team.
Yeah.
I don't think he was class at the weekend.
No performance wise. I think he played alright, but in terms of like getting the team to get their finger out,
I think
Lundstrom got loads of praise. Cared, didn't he?
It looked like but I think he got loads of praise just because he started halving folk. That seemed to me like he got the praise.
But like he's off the ball. He was literally telling people where to be and what to do, and that's I thought Lundstrom had.
And he was someone who was kind of written off very early on. So it's just
he played well his first couple of games, and then it was shocking for a couple more,
Right,
and then he's kind of grew back in it. His performance against Dortmund
But
was unbelievable.
it's so reactionary, as you said. People, you've already touched on people wanting Gio to
Well, let's talk about that.
get to fucking.
If it wasn't for Europe, do you think he'd be gone?
No.
I
Do you
don't.
think he'd be close to being
Listen,
gone?
this
There'd
is.
be a lot more people calling for him, but they wouldn't be going.
Can I make a point? And I brought this up on my own channel. People, I've seen a lot of Rangers fans bringing up this case of, if Gerrard never left, this would they have. Gerrard, but I'm not lying when I say this. As soon as there was a lot of Rangers fans, and I don't know if you were one of them, Jack, but there was a lot of Rangers fans calling up a Super Scoreboard, taking to social media and every other platform to say, we've just got ourselves a better manager. Then the first couple of games, it was like, thank fuck Gerrard's left because we were getting stale and now Gio's in and we're playing great. I'm like,
But that's typical. Look at me in the summer with Peter Grant. I was dead against it, but as soon as he was in, you've got to embrace it because what other choice do you have?
I know, but like everybody's quickly getting this whole, if Gerrard was still here,
But the point is, Gerrard
was getting stale for
he
Rangers.
left them in a fantastic. What a job Gio had to come into. What were the 6 clear at that time? Was it more than that?
Mate,
6.
So there were 6 points clear. They were still in Europe. They were in all the cups, I think, at that point.
Yeah, they were because Gio chatted in the semi-final.
Exactly. So Gerrard left them. Gerrard left them in a really good position, and to fuck that up is kind of.
I don't think he would have been sacked though. If it was, if
he
they got knocked
pumped
out,
5-0 off Dortmund and they were out. And
well, a pump.
I also
is a
don't
bit
think that
different.
point swing happens if Gerrard stays.
I don't think so either. I think it would have been. I'm not saying that Celtic wouldn't win the league. I'm saying that
But
they wouldn't be 6 points clear at
It's
this
a weird
point.
one though. I don't think the point swing happens if he leaves, but I also don't blame Gio for most of that.
I think he needs what you said earlier on, Jack. I think he needs his own summer to establish his own squad, his
He
own
might not
style.
get it.
I blame the players, man. I blame Gio.
Do you think so? Even if they don't win the
don't
cup,
think
if
Rangers
they win
are-
nothing this year.
I don't think Rangers are in a position to sack him.
If they win nothing this year,
Do you think there's a contingency plan in place for that? I don't think they would. I don't think they've considered that. I think that would be a really.
There wasn't
I don't
much of a
know about you,
contingency plan.
Jack's a Rangers fan here, but I think it would be really rash of Rangers, and it might make things worse.
but there wasn't much of a contingency for when Gerrard left because they had to get an entire new coaching team in. They don't have coaches that
true.
belong to the club or whatever.
But that was out with their control.
Yeah, maybe.
So the only thing I've told when I'm talking to my Rangers fan pals is you look at Gio's track record when he went to the was it
Feyenoord,
They went into Feyenoord and took them on a journey to win their first league in how many years?
That was ton- good well.
It's a very. I think it'd be very silly for us to sack him at the end of this season.
it-
I would give him till December, and if there's no sign of
improvement.
Because Celtic are only going to go one direction now. Celtic are not going back there.
See, it's such a 50-50, isn't it? Because on one side, as I've said, you could rush, you could make that decision and it could backfire. But then again, if you keep him on and then he doesn't make the right signings and then things do get worse, then you are setting yourself back.
Aye,
So
that's
it's
when
the
you-
risk, isn't it?
That's when you look at him, like as an actual manager. See when you're getting flung in halfway through a season, watching a team get put out a cup, struggling, if watching your rivals play absolutely phenomenal and take over the lead, and then you don't improve that team when you get a pre-season and a transfer window. And
but we're talking about him as if we're not talking about a rebuild. He came into a team that was 6 months clear at the top of the league. That's not a team that needs a rebuild. Neil Lennon came into a Brendan Rodgers team that were clear at the top of the league and improved them for the rest of that season.
Lenny.
He did. He didn't change very much. He kept and he did what was there. It's what you say about the points turnaround with Gerrard being there. I don't think it would have been that much of a turnaround. I think Celtic might still have won the league, maybe, but
Okay, well, let's simplify the question. If you were Stuart Robertson right now, would you say?
I'd be worried about my own job if I was Stuart Robertson. Right now,
If you were Douglas,
no, if I was him, no,
would you
absolutely not.
No,
but
you wouldn't sack him. No,
these things are not that simple when you're managing
of course
Celtic
not.
or Rangers, isn't it?
of course not.
Fan pressure is a big thing, and I think if the trophy list this season, Celtic will sweep up all three, no matter who's in the hot
don't get me
seat.
wrong, it will
Don't make
be
me sweat.
an absolute saurian.
What are the odds on that? It must be like almost. They're favourites for that now, Celtic to win all three. Because they'll be favourites for the Scottish Cup. And they've almost won the league, so. You see what I mean?
Ooh, I smile. Honestly, if you told me, I would have pissed my pants.
It did not seem possible last summer.
Would have
And it
pissed
didn't
my
seem
pants.
possible when Gio came in, I didn't think either.
I didn't think it was possible. As I said, when we lost that game at Livingston, which was our last domestic loss, I was well and truly convinced that we were not going to win this league.
Yeah, all the talk was Ange's got to get a season. It's got such a massive job, and it is, and it was, and it has been. But then once he won the cup, you're like, well, he's already succeeded this season. But now he could be about to write himself in Celtic history as one of the, the Martin O'Neills, the Brendan Rodgers, the Jock Steins, and all that.
This is a documentary season.
It is bizarre. There's a documentary 2 seasons when you think
Shame
about
we've
it.
not got the SIM card in it.
Yeah, I know it is.
I see the complexion of faces.
How far anyway?
We're at 40 minutes.
Jesus Christ. Let's anything else you want to touch on? Anyone else you want to slag off?
I've not really got
I thought Willie Collum had a good game. Might be controversial.
I think he needs to learn how to put on his pocket.
I thought he had a good. No, I like that. I like the game flow. Like that meaty challenges.
There's letting the game flow, and then there's.
Listen, he booked the people I had on my bet builders. I'm happy.
There's letting the game go, and then there's people making 5 fouls in one half and not getting
putting people at risk.
It was a good old fashioned fucking Celtic Rangers game. I thought it was good.
Bring back Hugh Dallas.
He'd have had stuff thrown at him. I suppose we better mention that really quickly as well.
Bit dodgy.
Jack, I know you were upset, mate, but you don't need to lob your bottle of Bucky on there.
Did you throw that at Joe Hart? It was you that threw that at Joe Hart.
I sit in the govern, mate. If I'm flinging that, I'm getting an award.
No, I feel sorry for my Joe.
Imagine a Rangers player slid in for diving head with a glass in his eye.
You know, that's what I was saying. You know, it's no. I said it in my video. Like, I don't mean I'd never like to sound like a mad ambulance chaser. I like a bit of fun at the football. I like a bit of good old fashioned rivalry and shouting at each other and all that. But you know, you're throwing a glass bottle into the park and it's helping nobody. Like, as in, like, it's not giving you or team any advantage.
And actually, at the start of the second half, Rangers would have wanted to get out and get going straight away, and it just delayed that. They're all just standing there for ages. It just didn't work for anyone.
Really stupid.
Every fan base is Scotland, isn't they?
But as usual, some of the stuff that cunts have been coming out with on Twitter, like
David
going,
Tanner.
let's not even go there with that one.
What a twat. Just
what did you say?
David Tanner.
He's just attacked people like a bevy at the football.
He put up a tweet about the amount. There was like a photo of all the glass bottles as they usually get lined up at the front of the Brimlin or whatever at Ibrox, and David Tanner quote retweeted it with some complaint about people taking drink into games, and I'm like, well, listen,
they're drinking it, they're not throwing it.
I know, exactly. but like, this is the thing: if they would just hurry up and serve us fucking beer in plastic,
but it was
cups,
the language he used. It was like these people and all this.
I seen. Did you see? Is it Jim White on Talksport? And he was like slandering all this. It's disgusting. Like, mate, there's 50,000 people in that stadium and one person done something stupid.
Well, a few. Listen, I was more than one. There was more than one.
In terms of the bottle incident.
Well, what about the bottle that threw the Celtic staff member that fucking cut his head open?
Did you see that?
No.
Celtic fans who had to get stitches. Terrible.
The fact Rangers
50,000 people, and there's a handful of people in there that have done something silly, and we're all getting branded.
There's every.
You could say the same in Barry
bastard clubs that are letting the rest of us down. Celtic Rangers have fucked it for the rest of us. We still can't drink because you lot in the 70s, you know, and you're not helping us now.
80s, actually. It was 1980.
I thought you found it was the 80s, David.
It was 1980.
But yeah, so let's move on from that. We've kind of very much covered that, and also covered Rangers in Europe. Before we go into more domestic stuff, let's talk about Kieran Tierney.
I'm actually gutted, really gutted.
Well, I mean, he's not ruled out for the playoff yet, which now looks like it might be getting played on the 7th of June, I think they were reporting.
That's not happening.
He's not.
Well, no, apparently this is coming from the Ukrainian FA. They want to meet up before the end of May.
I seen some. I don't know if this is just paper talk. I seen something about them getting a buy into the next World Cup.
A lot of shite. That's not going to happen.
No, but
I don't think so.
If the game can't be played, then no.
But if it can't get played now, they'll play it in November. They've got time. There's an international break before the World Cup. They can play it then if they have to. It's not ideal. But yeah, Kieran Tierney might. I mean, there was. I'm sure there was a Scotland game recently where he was touch and go and he made it. It was one of the big ones, and he made it. His powers of recovery tend to be pretty good. He gets injured a lot, but he comes back quite quickly.
It's just the fact that this is a knee injury.
He's had knee injuries before, though, is he not?
But
that's worrying, though.
No, I think before
the hip was.
He had I think maybe his ankle.
Just Weetabix from the hips down.
Yeah, I just knee is always the dodgiest one, isn't it? That's the one that's like.
But then the fact that the fact Arsenal haven't ruled him out for it is encouraging because they won't want him to play. Well, they don't want him to play in that game. Why would they? They want him to have the summer off. So we'll see.
Is he not getting sniffed through at Real Madrid?
No, and Barcelona.
Fucking, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
I'd say them.
We've got the best left-sided defence in world football in this country. I'm telling you, it's outstanding.
But yeah, it's got, and I was gutted.
You're laughing at it. Fucking do.
Do you see the thing?
Who's the Bayern left back?
Robertson and Tierney as a left-sided defence is not a better one in European football.
I think you've got something to say.
What country in European football's got a better left-sided defence than Tierney and Robertson?
Well, he's Canadian.
In European football, England, don't
Who's the best left back in the world?
You're not swapping fucking Maguire and Shaw for Tierney and Robertson. You can fuck off.
I never said I was.
No, I'm just putting this out there.
Who's the best left back in the world?
Who's the French one? Robertson's the best left back in the world.
I disagree.
He has been for about 3-4 years. What are you watching? He's certainly in the fucking top 3.
Oh, he's certainly the top 3.
Him,
I'm just trying to rack through my head.
him, Alphonso Davies,
Calvin Bass.
Teo Hernandez, maybe.
Who's your man?
Big Shirley.
I like that Spinazzola. He's a good player.
Fuck off.
What?
He's not bad, Robertson.
No, I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying I like him.
Yeah, when Robertson wins a quadruple for Liverpool this
No,
season,
I
he'll be
agree.
able to
I think
cement it.
Scotland does have the best in terms of national teams. The best.
Just let me have it. Why are you arguing
I'm
with me?
not arguing with you. I'm not arguing.
So yeah, but also Nathan Patterson's injured as well, which is a bit bollocks. He's got surgery on. What is it surgery on?
No clue, mate.
I just know it's surgery. Lampard said it.
I literally found out.
Lampard's got a cheat because he's not fucking playing him anyway.
I found out not long before I came here that he was it.
Yeah, so he might be out.
It's an absolute joke that he's not getting a sniff at it.
Well, listen, sorry, John Joe Kenny just happens to be a better player.
Oh my Christ, that's horrendous.
You absolutely win John Neckin right now.
John Joe Kenny and Seamus Coleman both still play for Everton.
Yeah, well, listen, don't be harsh on Seamus because
he's been bollocks. Have you watched Everton this season?
he's a captain, right?
I know. And in 2011, that was a good idea, but it's not
I'm
anymore.
not saying Patterson should be playing week in, week out. He should be
Yes,
getting a chance.
should.
He should be getting a chance.
No, he should be playing that Everton team. He's better than what they've got.
No, but if he gets a start in that Everton team and plays an absolute shocker, he's not getting a game.
It's
again.
weird because I
don't think he would,
I
though.
was going to raise the point that clearly he's not doing enough to get in the team, but when he played for Scotland last week, 2 weeks ago, he was
Fucking brilliant. Yeah, and that was him having not played for ages.
Yeah, no, so it's weird. It's really
But
weird.
yeah, was there someone else that was injured? Maybe I can't remember. Maybe that was it.
But Tierney, the thing is about Tierney, I'm more gutted for him himself more than I'm gutted for him playing for Scotland, because obviously I'm a massive Kieran Tierney fan. His season was just going so well. He's really establishing himself as what I would think is the next Arsenal captain. They're pushing for the Champions League. He's in a really good position in his career right now. And
3-0 Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I know he never even got to play right enough, but I mean it's a real shame because he's having such a great year.
So say we go into this Ukraine game, say it happened tomorrow, right? You've got Gordon in goal, you've got McTominay, Hanley, Robertson, right? So you've got a space where Tierney would be, and you've got a space where Patterson would be. Who covers those
Jack
two spaces?
Hendry
So Jack Henry's going to play left of the back 3 for you.
Can we not move Hanley or something?
You got to play Hanley on the left of the back 3.
Can we not move McTominay or something?
Maybe, but McTominay most likely.
I think you could do that.
Cooper not just go in? Cooper back fit, back playing for Leeds?
Suppose.
He'd be my shout probably. And then I'd probably still go with Aaron Hickey. It's going to be O'Donnell, but I mean,
I was about to say,
Aaron Hickey's just played 90 minutes at right wing back in the San Siro and done brilliantly. So if he can't play for Scotland, then what chance have we got?
Milan, isn't he?
Huh?
All the talk is that he's going to go.
Well, after that showing against them last night, I wouldn't be surprised if they went and got him.
Madness.
So it seems like he would be the one we'd want rather than O'Donnell.
It's a real weird, right? See, by the time that the Euros actually, the World Cup comes around, right? See, Hickey was their starting right back. Robertson was their starting left back.
You've got AC Milan.
You're potentially talking about. You're potentially talking about the champions of Italy, because Milan are in the title challenge.
Yeah.
You're potentially talking the champions of Italy, champions of England potentially.
Yeah.
And then if Tierney ended up at one of the 2 Spanish sides, Real Madrid, Barcelona, that's champions of Spain.
And Man United.
And then you've got Scott McTominay. Well, let's not get started
in the middle.
on United, right? But
And Grant Hanley.
but that's insane. Like, who would have thought after all the years of shit Scotland defences that we could find ourselves?
We've got competition replaced at centre half and we play a back 3. It's fucking wild. Yeah, it's so good. Right, where should we go next? Anything else happening? Edinburgh Derby this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
I've just jumped in 2-footed there. I think it is.
I think so.
That'll be jobbies
On
because
the
they tend to be
Saturday.
jobbies, don't they?
What do you think,
I
Jack?
thought you had stuff up in your laptop.
Well, I
there.
did.
But then I've just kind of taken over. As per
Yeah, I
usual.
was letting you host. I was just
I
letting
think
you.
Hearts will win.
I think Hearts will win.
Is that game? Are we definitely sure it's this?
I'm sure it's
Right,
this weekend.
let's
There's 2 derbies this weekend, Dundee Derby and Edinburgh Derby.
That makes
Oh my
sense
God.
because Sky like to do that, didn't they? They like to get them on at
Are they
the.
both on telly?
Actually, I think they.
I don't
I
think Edinburgh one's on
It's
telly.
only Rangers that are on the telly this weekend.
No,
I'm sure.
because Hearts Hibs is a fucking Saturday 3 o'clock.
Aye.
Wow,
So it's only Rangers that are on the telly this weekend, I think.
Yes, it will
what
be.
people want, innit?
So this weekend, it's a tasty weekend of fixtures, to be fair. Battles all down, up and down the league. So you've got Hearts Hibs, obviously, which we'll talk about in a bit. Livingston Motherwell, which could potentially be a real tasty fixture in the battle for the top 6. Celtic St Johnstone, Aberdeen Ross County, Dundee Derby, and St Mirren Rangers. So, well, that Saturday 3 o'clock it's a star-studded one.
It is a bit of a shame the split's going to ruin that.
I hate the split.
I love the split, man.
How do
split-
you
the
love the
split's
split?
actually-
Because how many
worst.
meaningless fixtures do you have with the split? Next to none. Every game means something.
But you end up with
pish.
somebody in 7th from our points and somebody in 6th.
I know it's rotten.
Well, they should have fucking finished in 6th then,
Oh, it's
shouldn't they?
ridiculous though.
I
No, it's not.
hate
Because
it. It's the worst. It's
if
the
you've got-
worst system in football.
No, I love it.
And across all...
It's the fact is that I think it's been shown as its faults in this season, because people can win in nines can win one game and be in fourth. It's ridiculous.
Which can be an exciting
thing.
Incredibly
exciting.
It's exciting.
But then they're getting rid of it for the last 5 games.
But it's like up to the... So we've got this... Is this last game for the split this weekend?
Can you imagine how good it would be if that ran right to the last game of the season?
Right? You've got this mad rush until the split, which is full of excitement.
And then it dies.
And then it literally dies. Celtic will win the league, then they'll go...
Well, that's your fault for being fucking far behind, right?
It does. Well, it'll die.
Okay, but how many times at a post-split have we seen, like, instead of Celtic and Rangers playing fucking Dundee, they've got to go to Pittodrie, they've got to go to Easter Road, they've got to go to Hearts. It makes it so much more exciting.
The only thing post-split that is ever exciting is either if Rangers and Celtic are going for it to the last day, or if it's a last-minute relegation.
Exactly, and then they're playing tougher games. And, like, down the bottom, they're all playing winnable games now. So if you're Dundee, you don't have to worry about going to Parkhead or going to Celtic Park.
Tough when Dunfermline are lying down anyway.
Well, that's just
you can hit shots at me and you can back up a split lane there, but
no, like, listen, I hate it. I think that we could have a far better solution with an 18-team league.
No, because that's never ever going to happen.
No, I know, but
so what's the point in even suggesting it?
Because we should.
No, of course we should, but it's never ever going to happen ever. You're never ever going to have a team league.
18 the top.
Taylor Swift in here.
as long as Sky Sports call the shots, you're never getting more than 12.
I know, because they want the 4 derbies.
They want the 4 derbies, exactly.
Etc. etc.
Which is the problem with marketing your game solely around one
fixture.
fixture.
If they go the rates to the cup, you're probably getting 4.
No.
Well, not with your recent fucking cup showings, they won't.
We're playing them in. How many Old Firms have been this season?
5. It'll be 5 this season.
5 this season.
Oh, that's only one more.
There was 6 in 2016-17.
Oh well.
There was 6 in
there
2000 because we played.
Just Gerrard's shite in the cups, wasn't it? That didn't. How many did Gerrard have in the cup? 1.
Just the one at the Hampden final. Of course, it would have been at Hampden. Where else it going to be? Fucking.
But let's have a quick look at the table since we just talked about the top 6. So obviously you've got somehow Hibs are currently in 6th. They can't finish in the top 6. Surely they're so bad.
So I think Aberdeen or Ross County, the winner of that will finish in top 6.
You think so? I think. Well,
they have to.
So let's go through it. So you've got Hearts are obviously safe in 3rd. Mm-hmm. You've got, and this week is interesting, 4th Dundee United on 40, Motherwell 5th 39, Hibs 38 in 6th, 37 for Ross County and Livy, 36 for Aberdeen, and 36 for St Mirren. So they all could potentially.
I think the top 5 stay in the top 6, and then it's going to be either Aberdeen or Ross County.
But if Livy beat Motherwell?
I think that's happening.
Okay, cool. I think that will happen. So I think the top 6 will
I think Hearts beat Hibs. I think Dundee United beat Dundee. I think Motherwell either draw or beat Livy. And I think
winner of Aberdeen Ross County gets last spot. Okay. I think Livy will beat Motherwell. So I think you'll have Dundee United will be fine. I think you'll have Livy and I hope it's Ross County. No, I think it's at Fir Park. But it'd be quite cool to have Livy and Ross County in the top 6 because it's a big get it up you to Hibs and Aberdeen for being as bad as they have been.
I would love to see that.
It would be good. I would very much like to see that.
Fuck Hibs. Shit.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Gio getting time. How much time?
Honestly, they wind me up, man. They can't fucking.
You used to fucking support them. What are you on about?
When John McGinn was there.
But we talk about
we
talk about managers in trouble, but. How much time is Sean Maloney going to get? He's got to get a summer, surely.
I've said all season, he'll get a summer.
And he needs it, because that squad is just...
Yeah, I would... We talk about Gio maybe getting harsh treatment by some fans. I think that Maloney would be... If he was to get sacked before the summer, it'd be so harsh. He's inherited an absolute bomb site of a team.
Yeah.
That is a horrendous Hibs squad. I said it at the start of the season. You take Martin Boyle away, which we all knew was going to happen eventually. He was either going to go to Celtic at the start of the season, or he was going to leave in the January. He left in the January. You took Boyle out of that team... And it was mince. And it was fucking... And I'm right. And I was right all along because the team is really...
He has made a couple of decent signings in January.
Yeah, he did, I suppose. But he needs a full overhaul sort of summer.
And Jim Goodwin's exactly the same.
You can't expect anybody to do anything when Lewis Stevenson's still your left back. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Doyle plays most of the time, doesn't he? But...
I suppose, but he's still got Lewis.
But he's someone else they might lose. Anyway, they almost lost him last summer. So. Yeah, and Jim Gooden will be exactly the same. Whereas Ross County have had an unbelievable season, which nobody saw coming. Did everyone have them bottom of the league?
Yeah.
Maybe their predictions.
Probably at one point, aye. If they get top 6, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, that is absolutely phenomenal.
I'll still be giving credit to Malcolm.
And another point I just saw yesterday, the top scorers is going to be interesting now. Morelos, I think, is Morelos still first? I think him and Charles Cook are joint on 13. So Regan Charles Cook could be top scorer in the league now because Morelos won't play again. I think Jack Marcus is on 8.
Kyogo knowing something like 9 or 10.
Maybe, but so he could come back in as well.
I think so.
Christian Ramirez. If Aberdeen finish in the bottom half of the split, Ramirez might score more goals, so he could be.
What happened to the days when players were scoring 30 goals? 13's an embarrassing number.
I mean, how many did Liam Boyce get when he was at County? He got like 20 one year at Ross County. Did you know?
He was top scorer 16, 17.
How many did Edward get last year?
Did Boyd not get it, Kelly?
He did.
That's right.
Get it. Eduard, I think, only got 17.
It is strange though. The days of a 30-goal striker up here have totally gone.
Aye, it doesn't happen now.
Too much chopping and changing, isn't it?
But I suppose football's kind of changed in the sense that Celtic and I won't comment so much on Rangers, but Celtic especially over the last few years, especially since Rodgers has came in, have become a team where goals are coming from absolutely. You look, Sinclair, for example, was the most prolific player. He was a winger. The goals were coming
sure
from
that he'll be won the league of defence collectively. We're scoring more goals than
Tavernier, for example. It's just the way Celtic and Rangers have been. These goals have been spread everywhere because the football's changed. And then you look at the other teams, and I'll stick to what I've said this season anyway. The quality, I think, still got worse. And Dev argues that I think the quality's got worse, so they're not scoring goals.
Yeah, and the strikers that you think are going to be good have had rubbish seasons. Boyce had a decent season to be fair, but he's had injuries. Nesbitt was horrendous until he got injured. Right, let's move on to the also, Dundee are doomed, are they not?
Pretty much, aye.
Thank God to get rid of them.
Mark McGee.
Hi, Big Dingus. He's had a tough time of it, hasn't he? He's still terrified of mobile phones. Right. Huh? Get that tape. So, Scottish Championship. Let's move on to League One. If anyone's got any right to boo the Championship in here this season, it's fucking me.
Just waiting for the.
But it is Derby Day in Fife today. Yeah, as we speak.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
What time is it now?
Somebody get a button it.
It's 2 minutes. 2 minutes to 1 in the morning.
What was I going to say? 2 minutes to 1.
We need a fucking wreath for this Derby.
Brilliant. I'm working at 9 in it.
Did you leave the heating on in the flat?
I fucking hope so, man.
Oh, we're freezing.
Anyway, I know I'd rather talk about the heat in this game, but I might as well cover it. We always play Wraith Rovers tonight. We are second bottom in the league. Wraith Rovers just off the back of beating Queen of the South in the SPFL Trust Trophy. Yay!
I forgot that exists.
Yeah,
what's happening?
The only thing that made it good was when they brought in the English and Irish and Welsh teams, but obviously that didn't happen because of COVID. Hopefully that'll be back next year because it is a lot of fun when you get an away trip down there.
Probably the best trophy to win in the country.
It's gone downhill since Ramsden stopped sponsoring it.
On your second attempt.
Sorry, it was Petrofac you won, wasn't it?
It was a Petrofac, yeah.
To be fair,
so who beat you the first time?
Wraith Rovers.
Oh, was it not Peterhead?
No, Wraith Rovers beat you.
We beat Peterhead.
Wraith Rovers beat you.
Tavernier scored one of the best goals I've ever seen in person before.
That's right.
Unbelievable finish.
So the way the Championship's looking now, we've got Kelly, you look like you're going to win the league. Kyle Affle's just won Player of the Month.
What a boy, man.
Rightly so, he's been phenomenal. And now they're 4 points clear of Arbroath with 4 games to go. Arbroath are pretty much guaranteed the playoffs, and I think a point does it. Which in itself is phenomenal. Everyone's got caught up in them winning the league, but just getting the playoffs is unbelievable for them. Yeah. Dunfermline are 3 points ahead of Queen of the South, we're bottom of the league, but we're 5 points behind Ayr United in 9th.
I'll need your help this week.
How?
I'm interviewing somebody for Queen of the South.
Who?
Just on media guys. So I'm doing an interview just on their season or their prospects for the next.
Willie Gibson, Ballon d'Or. Let's talk about him, the new gaffer, man.
I'll need to ask your
sounds like a barrel of laughs.
It's one of the ones you go in an interview like that and you're like, right, you're fucked.
I hope he's not listening to this. The guy you're interviewing.
No, he's a good guy, and I can't wait to do the interview. But it's always difficult.
You just admit you know fuck all about what.
No, I do.
Okay, right. Name one Queen of the South player.
Stephen Dobie.
Fantastic.
No, I do know a few.
Aye, okay. Well, we'll come back to that. So it looks like we might be humped because we're 3 points ahead of the bottom, but we are 5 points behind 8th, and there's fucking 5 games left. Mm-hmm. So I think we might be humped, boys. Looks like the playoffs. But we could win tomorrow night and then you're laughing. We could still got to play at home. We've still got to play.
Where are Falkirk in League One just now?
Oh, fuck it. We'll come to that. Don't worry about that. We'll come to it. We've still got to play Ayr at home and Queen's at home. So, we've got a decent amount of fixtures. But yeah, we have to win.
The before and after of the Falkirk stand was a joke. Is that picture on Twitter?
No, I haven't.
At the start of the season.
Let's just go to League One.
The start of the season versus now, the stand is a joke.
So they pretty much sold out the stadium the opening day of the season, and there was next to no. Well, they've only got fucking 3 stands. Settle down.
I know, but still, it's for League One. That's.
And I think there was loads of free season tickets and that. And
right. Anyway, okay. So
and there was basically no one there at the weekend.
A lot of people dressed up as seats.
Yes, Falkirk fans like doing that. I can't even be asked to take the piss out of them because the results do it themselves.
Before we came back up.
Right, okay.
Well, so there's now four.
That cheek.
My biggest fear about getting relegated was the
I'm here
Falkirk
post Old
relegated.
Firm Day. I deserve a wee dig.
I know you've had a tough one today. You've had a tough one.
So there's now 7 points between Falkirk and 5th and Queen's Park in 4th. So we're okay, I think. They won't relegate us. Airdrie might though, but that's another story. But yeah, Falkirk are so bad. They got beat again 3-0 off Montrose at home, which is outstanding. Lee Griffiths is tearing it up in League One. He's not found his level. He'll be fucking in the lower league next season, and still probably not
Brings me a
scoring
really
goals.
high amount of joy.
Yeah,
I don't blame you.
and me, because he was he had the keys. He had the keys to the country. He could have been Scotland's number 9 for years and banged goals in for us.
Too many
and
tea
he
cakes.
fucked it. Too many other things as well.
As Stevie
Probably.
Fitzsimons would say, he has
Give him another season.
well and truly, he has well and truly made a mug of himself.
Yeah, and everyone else that is put in faith in him.
Honest to God, one of the only players that actually used to strike fear when he came on, and
That's right.
Look at
Because
me.
I still remember, I was ahead of the curve in regards to.
Fuck me, that was the most obnoxious. Look at me,
I was more scared of him than like Edward.
I was ahead. I know that, but I was like, I used to get a lot of people that always say to me, it was Rangers fans like, "Oh, I fear Griffiths coming." Why? I never got. Like there was a point. I was
Then
like,
he'd
why?
score a few,
And I'd always say why, and then suddenly it just went dwindled.
But that period when he came back in under Lennon, they played 3-5-2 and he was up front, he was fucking
That's
phenomenal. And he looked like he was going to find it again and then chucked it that summer, didn't he? He had the chance to get fit and firing because it didn't look, I mean, Edward looked like he might have been leaving, but he stayed in the end, but then he just didn't. Remember the photos of him getting kebabs in Castlemilk and all
That's
that? He just
making TikToks.
absolute shambles. And finally we'll touch on League One because Kelty have won League One, which is League Two, which is fantastic. Although Kevin Thompson keeps calling football footy, which is fucking bizarre.
Honest to God,
he needs the jail for that.
I would like to see him as a Rangers manager.
You know who I would like to see? I would like to see him as the next Dunfermline manager. There you go.
I think he's a class person.
Think he
I went to a Q&A kind of thing with the Heart and Hand podcast. They done like a Q&A about him and it was brilliant.
Aye.
Just the way he spoke about the game was unbelievable.
You would never get him leaving Kelty now for Dunfermline, but
Yes, you would. 100%.
for that mess.
You're having a laugh.
For that mess.
It's not a mess. Off the park, it's not.
For promotion to your scants.
Off the park. You're not going to find.
That's quite genuinely.
Mate, you don't know what you're talking about, mate.
No, I know Dunfermline are.
He would fucking jump. I mean, he wanted the Kelly job. And he was close to getting it, I think.
If he's go down, I think he takes it
Yes.
because he's getting right back up.
Yes,
Surely.
I would say so. I mean, Dunfermline are in a great place off the park. I keep telling everyone this. I don't think people are believing me. We're in a fantastic place off the park.
Boozing with the owners and
Yeah, and training ground and all that, youth academy, we're flying. And, you know, we've got. Yeah, did you see the thing in Open Goal? Did anyone see that?
No.
They were
watch
talking.
it.
They were.
I can't stand Slaney. I can't watch it.
I don't watch it anymore.
can't stand Halliday, so I can't watch it.
But there was a clip, and basically they were talking about Kevin Thompson, and they were like, "Where would he go in the summer?" And someone said, "He'll go to Wraith Rovers." And so I was like, "Nah, he's not going to go to Wraith Rovers. He'll go to a big club. He'll go to Dunfermline." And I was like, "You fucking god yourself, love that." So I'm going to replay that clip tomorrow because it's Derby Day. But
Absolutely shy.
yeah, but I mean, I don't think Yogi's going anywhere, even if we get relegated. But hey ho,
Aye. Well, they've won League Two.
we have done fair play. Super Joe flying, what a guy. Shall we get some questions up?
Let's get on to that.
I missed the quiz.
The final. I do miss the quiz. I'll need to get Matthew. What a tremendous.
Well, this is my last show for ages.
Oh, wait, I know that's right. That's right. We didn't even touch on that. At the
Well,
start.
me away.
This is it. David's last show.
Well, I mean, I'm not like. It's not.
It's your last.
First Tesco now, talk Scottish football.
I know.
I mean, this could be potentially the last time you're in this studio, but
Well, maybe. Doubtful.
No, forever, but for a while.
Aye.
Where are you going?
I'm going back up the road, back up north.
Oh,
As of Friday.
Friday. Which I made a bigger deal out of this.
I know.
I'm not going to lie, that's me just finding out.
They'll probably see more of me in the channel than they do now, to be perfectly fucking honest.
Probably, yeah.
So, yeah.
What I was going to say was, Christ, what were we going to touch on there? Because you said all quizzes, right? You said, so obviously you don't watch the Celtic the Thunder.
You're right.
So.
I'm a weekly viewer.
So on the quiz last week was brilliant. So there's a question and it was obviously do back and forth. Tierney your question, Cam your question back. So I go out to Ryan McGinley. I'm like,
ask me the question, see if I know it.
right. So I was like, how many goals have Celtic conceded
I don't know it.
in the Scottish Cup this season?
Oh, maybe I do know it. Oh wow.
Right. So
Zero?
Played.
So we played no. Right. So okay, he had the answer as 0. So McGinley goes 0. I'm like, and Matthew Duff has wrote down 0, and I was like, correct. But in the back of my head, I was like, that's no fucking right. I was like, Matthews fucked this here. Next question. Who scored Alloa's goal in the Scottish Cup against Celtic? I was like, how have you fucked it this badly?
Was it Connor Salmon?
It was Connor Salmon, yes, it was Connor Salmon. And I was like, how the fuck has he managed to do that? Like, put 0 for that question. Because he put his, like, he went like, the answer is 0, the 2 games were Dundee United and whoever the fuck else we played. And I was like, he's fucking missed the Alloa.
It's not as bad as when I said that there were like 6,000 goals scored at Euro 2020. That was the biggest howl in terms of like.
No, it was what he said, like 370 or something. I was like,
that's why we shouldn't record at 2 a.m. because my head was absolutely up my ass, and I was so convinced I was right as well. That's the absolute worst thing.
Right, pose the questions. We'll get the quiz back.
Again, as usual, we've probably covered a lot of these, but I like to go through them anyway because people have spent their time to put them in.
I've read a few of them.
I've not read any at all. I've not read any.
There was quite a few replies, 21 replies. So let's see what we've got here. What else have we not?
Do you know what I'm loving right now? The video of that guy in his bath. You see his new set? Like, aye, can you see his new? Aye, you can see his choo Scott Brown. He's sitting there on the. He's sitting in the bath, right? And he's got his scarf on and a wee hat. He's got his Rangers scarf on, bubbles covering his bits. He's like, aye, can you see his new? Fucking brilliant.
The Daz are a different breed, aren't they, man? David Turnbull, I don't think it's real David Turnbull, asks,
brilliant.
as things stand, who should get manager of the year? Ooh, for the whole cinch, Dick Campbell.
Over Ange.
If our both get promoted, definitely. You're lying if you say
promotion's a different story. Where they are right, aye, well, maybe. But no, it's got to be Ange.
If our both get promoted, it's Dick Campbell, and there's nothing you can say that'll change my mind on that.
Ange Postecoglou might win a treble.
He might take a team with the guy that's a bin man into the Premiership. Come on now. And that's not even a joke. Like, he's got a bin man that plays left line. Do you know what I mean? Let's get some perspective here. But yes, it probably will be Ange because I don't think Arbroath will get promoted. But yeah, and disagree with that. I know you probably don't want to talk about Ange being manager of the year.
I'm not going to comment.
No, Stephen Glass. Give it Stephen Glass. Oh, I'll tell you what, outside shout.
Can't they get top 6?
Shouldn't be allowed it for his fucking dress sense.
It's Barnett. I can't really talk about Barnett. Thank God there's no camera today. With Kyogo being fit, Anthony Devine asks, with Kyogo being fit, is it Saturday the ideal time to throw him back in?
Bring him back to the big reception, that.
Seems like a nice game to put him back in. 60 minutes.
You know,
yeah.
I'm
not even asking Jack that because he doesn't give a shit. I'm quite right too. St Johnstone are currently in 11th, 6 points behind 10th, which they've closed the gap a little bit. I think they won over Livy at the weekend as well. Did you see that fucking handball?
God, the handball.
Oh my God. I don't know I can't remember which St Johnstone defender it is. He literally just dives, punches the ball in his box, and Marvin Bartley put it on Twitter. But then Sean Rooney came from Marvin Bartley. Did you see that?
No.
There was a penalty decision St Johnstone should have had, and Sean Rooney just replied with that. I can't remember what the caption was.
Social media, beautiful.
No, a player shouldn't be allowed it.
Difference for a penalty claim and actually punching the ball.
But whether or not, I don't think St Johnstone.
I've not actually seen another penalty claim, so it might be a Stonewall. So
yeah, I think it was, but I can't exactly remember. So the thing is, they're 6 points behind St Mirren, and with 6 games to go, I can't see St Mirren losing.
St Johnstone will be in the playoffs.
Yeah, but again, they'll play St Mirren, which is a 6-pointer.
They will be in the playoffs.
Probably will, but there's a possibility.
There is.
Slight possibility. Well, Dundee are absolutely doomed. Here's something we didn't talk about. VAR.
Christ, aye, of course.
I mean, I don't want it.
You can tell who's top.
I don't want it.
No, they are.
No, I don't.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one to agree with when you know who's going to be in charge yet.
That's my thing. I mean, you've got fucking idiots.
I just don't like it in general. It's honestly, like, people, and do you know what's irritated me the most about it? There has been, once again, stupid individuals on social media who are trying to paint this black and white image that Rangers want it and Celtic. No Celtic as a team club haven't said we don't want VAR.
I think they probably would vote for it, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the Celtic will say yeah.
Have you seen there's a high possibility they might implement it halfway through a season?
That's even more ridiculous.
They can't do that.
So, but my whole thing with VAR is it's not VAR is a technology. If you've got the best like cameras in the world, right? If you've got a numpty operating the camera, that's going to be shit.
There's
what you get.
Proper idiots up here who think they think it's like a robot that's deciding it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's a goal here.
You know, the only time I've ever liked VAR was the World Cup in 2018 in the Euros. The only time I've really thought, that was good.
I liked it against Dortmund.
Yeah, well, exactly. European competition, and Scotland games it tends to work well. But if you've got absolute numpties who are fucking only part-time referees,
you know it's going to be bad when even England are fucking it up sometimes.
And also, what is the proposal? 100 grand from each top flight team. Was that a proposal I saw?
Something like that.
So if Arbroath get promoted, do you expect them to fork out 100 grand? So they can have it. That's fucking ridiculous.
I need to take another job.
Like, I mean, if we had top quality referees and there was a reasonable pricing plan put in place, fine. But I just don't think we're in a position now. I don't know.
We're in a position now though where bad refereeing decisions have become so escalated by every media outlet, by TV, by social media, that it just feels inevitable.
But look at the game at the weekend, right? Both sides could have had a penalty kick.
Yeah.
The Carter Vickers and Goldson and the McGregor and Maida both could have been penalty kicks. I'm not convinced they were, but they could have been. Especially with VAR. But the thing is, I'm not convinced that VAR gives them both either. Because we still, in England, I've said it all along, we talk about refs more in the Premier League than ever did before VAR, I think, personally.
Aye, absolutely.
Because it's still down to the interpretation of the guy looking at the screen.
I just don't want to go to a football game and feel like I can't celebrate a goal until I wait 5 minutes.
But then, my only counter to that is like the Scotland-Israel game when Dykes' goal got disallowed. Like that was amazing. Like it added to the suspense. But again, that's all well and good at like a big stadium where you've got screens and all that, but it doesn't really work elsewhere. How does that work at fucking St Mirren?
I know exactly. They've got to sit there for the announcer to give the announcement. You know, they can't see anything. It's on paper. If it works perfectly, it's a fantastic idea. We all know that, but it's for me, Jack, as you say, I hate this. I felt it once or twice now with Celtic. I felt it in Leverkusen when we got the penalty. You know, it went to VAR to decide, and it was a moment of sheer euphoria. It was fantastic. We just got a penalty to try and equalise. And the other time was against Copenhagen, which we've spoken about fucking 3 times in this show now. But the other time was against Copenhagen, and they gave the penalty. We scored it, and it was once again a moment of sheer euphoria. It's great, but it's not really.
This season for us has been very fortunate, but you can look at it flipped. See, like the Red Star game, they scored 3 goals that were offside.
Aye.
Somebody said to me, without VAR they score 3. I'm like, no, without VAR the linesman puts a flag up for all 3 of them. And then you look at the Dortmund ones as well, like it goes in our favour, but you can
it changes the way people referee games as well. Of course it does, because refs know they've got the fucking insurance policy of that.
You don't need to give that because
exactly.
they might get to check it. We scored a very, very, I think, good goal against Dortmund to make. We should have won that second.
Yeah, the one it wasn't a foul.
It was not a foul at all.
Yeah, it's And
the ref literally goes to look at that.
There's absolutely no easy answer. And my problem is I don't trust the SPFL to organise it, quite frankly. Darren88 asks, what was the best tackle of the weekend?
Anthony Ralston's. It's definitely Ralston.
No, Giacomakis, because it won me 95 quid. On who was it on? Jack. It was on Ryan Jack, wasn't it?
I was a big fan of Ralston's on. Who was Ralston's?
I'm obviously going to say Lundstrom.
That cost a goal, did it not?
That tackle didn't cost a goal. The hopeless defending cost a goal.
There's some questions here that are quite intense. It would be whole shows. Jack 6735, lots of numbers. Drop, bench, start. Chippy, Chinese, Indian.
That's a fantastic question.
I'm dropping the Chippy, starting the Chinese and benching the Indian.
See,
Chippy's definitely losing though.
You could word this to sound terrible. I'm dropping the Indian. That sounds shocking.
Even worse with no camera, isn't it?
But no, I'm dropping the Indian cuisine. I'm not a big Indian man. Once again, it sounds terrible. I'm not big on them. I am benching the Chippy and I'm starting the Chinese.
I would agree with that.
Is that yours?
Disrespect for the Indian.
I'm not a big fan of Indian food myself.
Neither am I.
See, I had to add food there because.
But the thing is about Indian food, when I go to an Indian's, I end up getting like a kebab. That's no Indian food.
I got a pizza for Indian.
Yeah, that's no Indian food. So you'll never.
A doner meat pizza is not Indian.
I know, but an Indian pizza is different to an Italian pizza, though.
No, but it's still not Indian. It's like
if you're getting an Indian, you get an Indian. It's more like that.
And a pizza for Indian is top notch.
Okay, that's
brilliant. Doner meat, spicy chicken.
Final question of the week. I'm just going to pose it to Jack. William Riley 72 asks, what is there to smile about these days? Come on, Jack, give us something. Something to be positive about. Come on, I don't want you to be negative here. Lift the nation.
The Old Firm branding on the game.
Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it?
So I do have an opinion on
that. Fucking bin now.
I do have an opinion on this. I'm not going to fucking use it against St Mirren, are we?
Keep it for next season, you know.
I thought it was very, very funny until we got beat.
It's like most things like that.
See if we win that game, I thought it was funny.
Because now Celtic have a real chance in their hands to hit back with the ultimate pettiness and get
the
Glasgow Derby.
See, Bonus, I was a bit half cut when I went into that ground. I seen it and I laughed I do get the whole embarrassing side of it because the way the game went and the fact that it's a bit cringy, but I thought it a bit funny.
See, it's like I don't even mind the fact.
Who gives a fuck?
You know, yeah. At the end of the day, it doesn't keep me up at night. I don't mind the fact that.
What does keep you up at night?
The Copenhagen game, apparently.
Still,
a lot of things.
I think it's smile about
That's
the
tsunami song.
Europe's the only thing it's smile about this season.
well, at least there is something.
Oh,
to
do you know
smile
what I love? Can I shout this out very quickly?
Go for it.
One of the best podcasts in the land. Shout out to my boys Stevie and John Reid.
Read so.
And Reid, and Spunkphone.
Him and McGinley and the catty at the weekend.
Yeah, but shout out, did you see the intro to that latest podcast?
Yes, I've forgotten what it was.
They were using the
Did they have the Rangers TV commentary on it?
Yes, it was fantastic. But no, on the note, what were we talking about there? We'll talk about the branding. It's all that well. It's good to have a laugh and that, but I don't know. It's just for me. It just seemed really fucking desperate and over the top. Like, you know, the sponsor boards are one thing, but the whole archway and just being plastered around. It was really, and then they were handing out flags. Do you see that?
Did not see that.
They were handing out.
You got a flag, Jack?
I didn't see any.
They were
flags.
handing. The Daily Record put up this morning. It was like unseen photos, and they were handing out. This is the Old Firm flags. Like, what the fuck?
But again, Jack's right. If they win, it's a good laugh.
Aye, I know.
That is it in the grand scheme. If we win that game, it's funny.
Because it rattles the opposition.
Exactly.
And
And the exact reaction we wanted is this. People going, oh my fucking god, look at the state of this. We're like, literally.
It's like if Celtic do the Glasgow Derby thing, it'll be hilarious. But if they get beat, it won't be funny.
See if Celtic come out and did the Glasgow Derby thing, I'll be like, that's
That is funny, but it's not funny if Celtic then get beat 3-0. Like, you know what I mean? Then it's not funny at all.
On a happy note, the display we done was lovely. I thought it was a belter.
The one that said this city is others.
We're always going to claim it's ours. You're always going to claim it's
You
yours.
might need to correct it for a wee while though.
We're always going to claim it's we're always going to claim it's ours when it's each other. But I thought it was a very good banner.
Good question. What's the best display you've ever seen at a football game ever? It could be Rangers, could be Celtic, could be Dortmund.
Well, it's one in the flesh. Or
not just at all. I think for
Dortmund
me,
must take the cake.
Dortmund's one with the big binoculars
Aye.
was fantastic.
I like the one that who was it that done they had like the Champions League draw.
It was a Liga Warsaw.
That was a belter.
Aye.
In terms of ones I've seen, I really like the come out to play one with the Warriors thing we done.
I think there's been so many great ones at Celtic Park in recent times.
That one you did against, did you win against Juventus?
I loved the.
Am I right in thinking it was one
I
against
loved the
Juventus?
Let's Go All In Rodgers at the poker table.
that's
with the
Do you know?
chips.
So I work with a Celtic fan, and we were talking just about random stuff, and we both came up with one I thought would be very, very funny because my favourite Disney song is in Mulan, and the first lyric of that song is "Let's get down to business and defeat the Huns." See if you've done just go that guy in a Celtic tap and just wrote "Let's get down to business." That would be so funny.
Yeah, listen,
Jack's now fucking like designing the Green Brigade.
So I was.
He's the one that grashed him in with the 3 letters.
I was talking about that song, and I was like, it's a bit annoying. That's the second line in that song. I can't sing that, but that would be so funny.
Nor would anyone on this podcast.
No, of course not.
Object to that behaviour.
That would be so funny.
Best tifo I ever saw was at Celtic Park when we played them, and it was Lol and Desmond gambling. Remember that one? Where the Green Brigade didn't show up.
Gambling the.
You done one. It was like the bat one.
Oh, who's afraid of the big black
That was
bat?
alright.
Yous were fucking terrified.
Riddle me this, riddle me that. I was like, who's afraid of the big black bat?
Dortmund are the best in it though, aren't they?
Dortmund are unbelievable.
Dortmund's are
It's just they've got the lucky with that yellow wall. It looks unbelievable. I can't wait for the season to be over, boys. I'll be lying to you if I said otherwise. I still honestly don't know if I can be fucked going to the game tonight, but I'll be there. Of course I
you
will.
cunt.
Oh,
Sorry, I just.
Oh, you have to censor that out. I've been through this. My mother listens to this. It's the last thing she needs to hear at her age.
I think I've just broke out a spot at the back of my head, and it was just fucking sore.
You've got a big fucker between the shoulders. That was shit pattern, David. I'm so sorry.
Sorry to post, David.
We were in boxing Friday night, right? And I was talking to, I can't remember who I was talking to, and I was like, as soon as they walked away, I was like, that was fucking dreadful pattern. I redeemed myself at the smoking area later on. I wasn't smoking, Mum. I was just standing there socialising.
Nice save.
Just in case she was, I know I had to fucking, yeah.
Don't worry, mother, if I'm in the smoking area, I am smoking.
You are definitely smoking.
I'm absolutely
I
smoking.
mean, I can pretty tell what that rasp you've got in that voice, man.
I'm still recovering from
Get a ball head away if you're talking about Post Malone.
I'm still recovering. I feel like Joe Rogan.
Oh, you know what we're going to end the show on today because we haven't talked about it. It's a bit out of date now, but we haven't talked about it in TSF since. Are we Team Chris Rock or Team Will Smith?
Oh, Team Chris Rock.
Yes!
Yeah, Team Chris Rock.
Get it? I mean, Will Smith needs to have a fucking word with himself.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's came out and he's apologised.
No, I don't even think he needs
It's
to apologise.
The part after it's been absolutely brilliant, man.
Superb.
But there's always talk about he might not get another movie. Fuck off. It's Will
It was
Smith,
like,
man.
what was my favourite one was Unbelievable scenes from Will Smith. Great effort. Maybe Jada will surprise you by not shagging somebody else.
It's insane though, because if that was like any other actor in the world, I feel like they'd react to it, because everybody loves Will Smith. He's so universally loved. He's just nobody's got a bad word to say about him. But you can shove any other actor up there who'd done that, I think the reaction would have been so different.
Can he physically assault somebody?
I would like to have seen what would have happened if he did it to Ricky Gervais. Like, how would that? Gervais would have just started scrapping.
You see the thing? It was like Chris Rock's cousin, is very unhappy.
But like imagine that Gervais would just not stop in terms of.
Gervais just came out and said that.
She said so much worse at them shows.
Gervais came out and said that when I slagged her for her hair, I slagged her for her boyfriend.
And what was? I think is he laughed before he went up and slapped him. So.
And
Plus, if Will Smith's ever in a film as good as Grown Ups or Madagascar, then he can come and talk to us.
He's seen her reaction. He's seen her reaction and thought, what would Tupac do?
Exactly.
What would Tupac do?
So that was good.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
That's us.
We should really have Cinch Awards. How fucking good would that be? Mate, who would... Right, final thing, right, before we go, right. Who would present the Cinch Awards, like the Cinch version of the Oscars? Who would present it? No. Well, okay. No. You know what Rylan would do?
Way too quick with that.
You know what Rylan would do? He would do the thing where he's like in amongst the tables, all the players, and that going in and interviewing. That's what he would do, right? But we'd have to have someone who can slag people off to do it. I'm trying to think who could... I mean,
it's got to be somebody Scottish, isn't it?
Someone boring like Martin Constantine who's just everywhere. Yes, that would be outstanding. Imagine Frankie Boyle slagging off Jim Goodwin. That is going to be outstanding.
That's a good shout, Jack. Really.
How long has this show been?
Early 20.
That's alright.
That's not bad.
Up the road.
Up the road.
Well, thank you for listening to this audio-only version of the podcast.
I'll see you on episode 150 or something like that.
Yeah, 100.
If he's bothered to record without me.
We will.
It's funny how you'll be here before me, innit?
I'm relying on you to step up my absence, Jack. You're going to step up my absence.
I'll step up, mate.
I say that like I've stepped up at any point through this whole process.
I know. Thank you, David, for your whole time being here.
Thanks, mate.
It's such an emotional moment that we don't even have on camera.
Nobody's going to notice. Nobody's going to notice I'm gone.
Well done.
Cheers, mate.
Last question then.
I've already had a gig called David Buick away. I can't have another one.
Have you enjoyed your stay in Glasgow?
Oh my Christ! You sound like you had like the questions my grand's gonna ask when I get up the road.
Did you enjoy your time in Glasgow?
So you can talk to people. You can talk to people that always have this bad representation. You've not been stabbed, have you?
No. Sadly not. That would have given me
people.
something to
People really do make Glasgow.
They do. You know what I'm really not gonna like is see for the next week I'm home. I'm gonna keep bumping into people and then I'm like, oh, is that you back now? Oh, how was Glasgow? I'm like, fucking shut up, man.
They're gonna think you talk different.
Oh yeah, that pattern always happens. Oh, you're putting on that voice. You don't sound like that. Fuck off. Right? I do. Right?
I've lived in Dennis in the last 2 years.
Shite.
Right, well that'll do us. David is gone. Jack is back.
Put your clothes on now, boys.
I'll get the scans. Pull them up.
That was great continuity. I like that.
But if you have been listening on YouTube, then make sure to hit like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. If you've been listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any of the other streaming services we do provide the podcast on, then it's on a few. You're looking at me.
I've never listened, so.
But if you are, then please make sure to rate the show 5 stars. And that'll do us. Right, thanks for listening. See you next time.